it takes
Yeah,
way more
but
time. But
I've been up since early today, working. I think I'm just like, okay, I'm done. All right, guys. So today we wanted to talk a little bit about, are you ready if the market shifts, right? Now, I know in some states here you might not see a lot of that, but in some states you will. So I'm kind of glad that, there's a little bit from everywhere here, but I'm going to let Carmen take over. I'm just going to go ahead and do the slide thing. So let me just go here to present. And
thank you,
present.
Teresa.
You're welcome.
Well,
You're
we
welcome.
had a wonderful class last Monday. If you missed it, I know that the recording is available, right, Teresa? So
Uh yes, we did. And I have to put it on YouTube. I don't think I did that yet. So I will take care of that tonight.
awesome. Awesome. Okay, so basically, so do you want to do this part, Teresa?
Yes, absolutely,
Yeah, go
absolutely.
ahead.
So let's get motivated, of course, right? We want to make sure that we give you a little motivation to start your week. So today is entrepreneurship is living a few years of your life like most people won't, so that you can spend the rest of your life like most people can't. Woo! That was powerful when I read that, right? Because how many times, as an entrepreneur, we have to understand that what we give in now is what's going to give us results later, right? And if we do not take time to dig deep now, right, at the beginning stages of our career, we're not going to be able to live the stuff we want to live, right? That most people won't be able to live, right? So does anybody have anything to share with that? And Geraldo, I would love your take on this because I know you've been in the business for a long time and you've done some great things in Puerto Rico here. So share a little bit. I don't hear you, but there you go.
Think that you got me confused with somebody else. I'm Gerardo, but I don't give classes on in Spanish on Thursday, that's for sure. Uh, but I will be glad to help you or follow on your presentation.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And I know Geraldo has been in the business for quite some time, and he's got this. I'm just gonna give you a little promotion here. He's got a great class that's called Crece on Thursdays, and it's usually in Spanish, but it's he always has a great presentation, a great teaching with a lot of years of experience. So if you guys want to join, Geraldo, if you want to put your link, I mean, you use the same link all the time, right, Geraldo?
Yes,
Yeah.
I know which class you're referring to, but I can't remember the name of the guy. As a matter of fact, he already put his name is Enrique. Enrique
Okay.
Morales. Okay? It's from Crece. The name of the company is Crece, CRECE.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, if you can put his information in the chat, that would be great.
okay. All
Thank
right.
you.
Sure.
All right, so let's move on. And these are some of the questions that Carmen wanted to address. So Carmen, take it away.
Awesome, awesome. Well, we were just, and I don't want you to get distracted just reading, the questions. We'll get there.
Mhm.
Um, but we had a wonderful class last Monday in regards to for sale by owners, and as you know, the market is shifting, and we are waiting for the market to get better. And I have heard some things this past week, from some agents thinking why we are not getting more listings, right? We were talking about for sale by owners, why we are not getting more listings. And many of the agents are just waiting to see if the market will actually becomes a seller's market. And if you wait for that to happen, you lost the train, right? You lost the opportunity to start working on with the mindset of, somehow that the market is going to shift, and you have to think ahead before that happens, because if not, you're going to lose a good opportunity. And in thinking about that, we just wanted to bring some questions today that will help us guide this conversation. And we would like to hear you. We would like to see what you have been doing, if you have thought about that, and what is happening in your market right now that may be, the motivation that you have to work now, or if you are, just waiting to see if something happens, in the long run, that will motivate your clients to move forward, either to buy or to sell. So the first question that we were just thinking, okay, how do you adjust your strategies when the market shifts from, a seller's market, let's say, to a buyer's market, or vice versa? So if you think about, how the market is going right now, tell me a little bit about your market area, because maybe we, like Teresa was saying, some markets are different than others, and we have been talking in the past weeks about some options, and we would like to hear how the market is going in your area. Is it a seller's market? Is still a seller's market, or is becoming more a buyer's market? Tell us a little bit about yourself, because we would like to hear that and see how you are adjusting, or what are the strategies that you are using if the market shifts, to get ready for the next phase in this market. So open your mic and tell us a little bit. We are not looking for a very statistical, type of response. Tell us what you are facing in your market, what you see, what others are talking, and what is your experience in your market. Open up, open the mic.
Come on, guys. Come on. I mean, we are all we're in a different market. We have people here from Texas. We have people here from Georgia. We have people here from Florida, Puerto Rico. So we're all in different markets. What is going on in your market? How is it shifting is what Carmen is trying to ask, that so that we can discuss and help you, right? Because if we don't know what's happening in your market, we can't direct you in the right direction. So we want to know what's happening in your market, if you're doing anything different to adjust to this new market, or you're just standing in the sidelines right now waiting to see what happens. So anything that's going on in your particular market right now. Asim?
Well,
yes, ma'am. Okay, somebody's coming in.
Okay, if you can raise your hand, that might be a little easier, so that way we can kind of just
I think Carol will mute herself, Teresa.
Yes.
All right,
Hi,
Carol.
everybody.
Hi.
I was not doing something for my listing, but I was just reviewing the statistics on the RPR system. And I was surprised that in August, my local market, it shows us a balanced market, but almost, in the limit where it's almost a seller market. So I was really very surprised about it. So,
And Carol, where is your market specifically? Is this
Orlando in Lake Nona.
Okay.
One of the zip codes in Lake Nona. It's almost a seller market. And you were talking about that. So I just checked half an hour ago, and I was very surprised because I believe it's starting to shift.
Okay. So is that because there is low inventory at the moment?
The time on the market, they are selling in 60 days, the houses. So it's not that long comparing to other areas.
Yeah.
It's not in all the areas in Orlando, but in that specific one, it's rotating the inventory. It's not taking that long. That's what I could see on that.
Perfect.
Good.
Any other?
Lake Nona, the demand is very high in Lake Nona because I also work in Orlando. That is the hottest market right now. And most of the people who are not interested to come to Kissimmee, St. Cloud, or any other area, they like to go to Lake Nona because Lake Nona is very near to it's a central location and it's very near to the Orlando International Airport. So that is one of the reason that that's a top priority area for anybody who's living in Orlando. As far as the new development is concerned, what I have observed that the new development is giving amazingly low interest rates. They have gone below 4%.
Yeah.
And as far as if you are talking about the seller's market, it's still not the seller's market because I have tapped Volusia County, Seminole County, and some part of Orange County with my buyers. And what I have observed that every seller is ready to give closing cost.
Hmm.
Yep.
Every seller is ready to give closing cost. Even I was talking to Teresa the other day. I put a contract on two new duplexes, and they were brand new duplexes. I mean, like 2,400 square feet and something like that. And I requested them because it was a private builder. So I thought they're not going to give closing costs, but I was able to get closing costs on those properties. So still, it's a buyer's market, and I feel like this is my personal observation that since the rumor is there or some sort of input is there that the interest rates are going to drop down. So what is happening right now that the new development, they are dropping their interest rates and they are increasing their incentives. So this is the input from Osceola County, Polk County, wherever the new development is happening, they are going below 4% so that people are concentrating on new development rather than going behind the resale houses. And the other thing, what I observed in Volusia County, that people are right now pricing their house in a right manner. They are right now in competition. I don't see a lot of overpriced properties over there.
And that's a sign that is shifting. That is
Yeah.
precisely a sign that is shifting. And basically, you just said it. There is a lot of buyers that are still, just waiting to see if how long does it take for the seller to give some concessions, some extra concessions, some extra closing costs, extra money to buy down the interest. And
No,
that's what
that
we
I'm
have.
sorry. I'm sorry. I'm going to tell you something. Buyers are not waiting as far as the Orlando market is concerned because if you look at the new development properties, I have a lot of friends in new developments and I
Mhm.
keep talking to them and they are telling me, I mean, the townhouses they have, the single family they have, the inventory is going away very fast. Very fast. I mean, I put a contract for myself personally back in April for something around 425. I was trying to move myself to another location and I went to the same developer that was Taylor Morrison and the same house they were giving to me right now for 475. But the interest rate was 3.99.
Yeah,
Yeah.
amazing. We have seen some builders over here in Georgia that announced, last week that they are buying down the interest the first year for 1.99, second year for 2.99, and from the third year and over 3.99.
Yeah.
That's
So we are gonna see that over and over because they don't want to keep their inventory. They would like to move it, right? And what exactly you think that needs to happen in order for us to go after potential sellers? Because, if we are in a buyer's market and it's shifting, when is the right time then to adjust your strategy and go after listings? We
right
talk
now.
about for sale by owners, right?
Oh, right
But if
now, as far as Orlando is concerned, there are a lot of listings. If some realtor is waiting to see the magic happen or trying to be lazy, it's their fault. If you have the right strategy, right, my mentor Teresa taught me. I never took a listing. I will be honest with you guys. I hate taking listing, but I'm always towards the buyer side. But this is the first time I took like I think like 5 to 6 listing uh,
Wow,
in few
good.
3 4 months. So, but there are tons of listings available. A lot of everybody wants to sell their house. I don't know
It
what's.
is. It is. Although us as agents, we think that because those are sitting on the market, it's not the right time to list.
Mhm.
No, no, no.
And
I
that's
have
and
seen.
that's what
I
we
have.
need to face, right now as listing agents or potential listing agents to see, hey, if I don't list right now, when the market actually shifts and becomes a buyer's market and the interest rate starts to go down, then you are late to get
Correct.
listings. It's better to act now and adjust that strategy and think think ahead. Don't think that, don't look at what is just happening now. You just have to think ahead. Okay, what will happen? What the market looks like in October, late October, early November, and try to get those listings now, because for those listing agents are going to have a blast, when the market shifts and those listings will start coming under contract,
Yes.
because buyers are going to get motivated, are going to see more the potential of, getting more money
Mhm.
from the sellers, and but there is no inventory. So
Right.
this is a huge opportunity for us right now. And I just wanted to plant that seed in your heads right now that you just have to think ahead. And if you are not a listing agent, if you're used to work only with buyers, this is the opportunity to become a listing agent and get the skills and get the training that you need and get the process and start looking at that as a potential income that you're gonna get from those listings, and get leverage, because that's what the listing gives you, some
Excellent.
leverage. You can still work with buyers when you put those listings on the market. You still have that, and you're going to get buyers or calls because people are looking for that information. And don't underestimate the opportunity that you have to get listings. Go after those sellers that have been sitting on the market, or those expired listings, or those for sale by owners. Start making those calls, because eventually that's going to be a huge opportunity for the last quarter of the month. We are approaching to end the third quarter of the year, and we are approaching to have to start the first quarter, I mean the last quarter of the year. Amazing. I mean, the year is almost ending, and this is the time that you have to think, what is your strategy? Is it working, or are you just over the fence, just trying to see what will happen and then decide what you're going to do? If you do that, it's too late. It's too
Yep.
late. So start masterminding about that. Start discussing those opportunity with your peers, and move those. I mean, look for statistics. Start getting market data from your area, and see how it's shifting. And maybe, for example, this today we were talking about that with another agent, and they were saying, oh, many good builders are building outside of the metro area, and because it's far, they think, I don't want to get there because it's too far. You know what? If they are moving towards that area, it's because they know that they can build cheaper. And that's exactly the type of home that the people are looking for.
Correct.
So why not? Just just think beyond of your strategies now. Just try to look for those pockets where houses are selling, and are selling in a different price range, that probably is what your buyers are looking for. So
Yeah.
you have to
And I'm
expand a
gonna speak.
little bit the area.
Yeah, and I'm going to speak for Florida because, obviously I try to do as much market research on Florida. And there's a lot of, especially South Florida, right? Because I was in South Florida.
Mhm.
because insurance, taxes, flood insurance, right?
Mhm.
All these things have gone up in the last couple of years. There's so much opportunity in South Florida for listings that people are moving up north, right? They're moving to Orlando, Ocala, like Jacksonville, a lot of the areas up north because they want to still stay in Florida, but they can't afford the South. So, in South Florida, there's a lot of opportunity because there's a lot of people selling in South Florida because they cannot afford, they bought a house at a certain price. All of a sudden now the taxes jumped up, $2,000-$3,000. And then after that, they went up, the taxes, the insurance went up. Now there's a lot of more flood zones that weren't there before. So now a lot of these areas are now considered flood zones. So now the ones that have to pay for flood insurance, all of a sudden now have to pay for flood insurance. And flood insurance is roughly anywhere between $1,200 and $1,500 a year on top of what they were already paying. So there's a lot of people that are being outpriced and out, where they just can't afford it anymore. And they're getting to the point where they're either going to end up in trouble, right, in foreclosure, or if they're smart, they're going to list their property, get rid of it now, and move somewhere else because that's what's happening. That's why Orlando and those northern cities are getting more buyers and more movement because the people in the south part of Florida it's just being completely outpriced, right? It's just they can't afford it. There's so many people that originally retired in South Florida that now can't even afford, even if their condos or homes are paid off, they can't afford on their fixed income to pay for taxes, insurance, and everything that's going on. So now they have to start considering moving to other states like Georgia, right? Because a lot of people from Florida are moving to Georgia because they have no choice, right? So there is opportunity. It's just, what are you doing to create those opportunities for yourself? And that's what we want to talk about a little bit today too. So the next question, if you want to go ahead, Carmen.
Yeah, what data sources do you rely on to anticipate market changes, and how often do you review them? And sometimes, we as agents, we go to trainings and we get, the information, and we try to connect with lenders, trying to look for the next client. But sometimes in a slow market like this, is the perfect timing for you to train, to get on trainings and make sure that you understand the market and how the market works, because that's the way that you will be distinguished from just a regular agent that, probably are just waiting to get their next call, or those savvy agents that knows how to interpret the market and make sure that you are ready when those hard questions comes from your clients, and how to redirect them. Maybe they will think that, all those objections that we normally get, no, this is not a good market, I'm just going to wait. You have to be ready and distinguish yourself and anticipate, those market changes. And what are the data sources that you use? Tell us a little bit about that.
Anyone want to share what data sources? Carol, you just mentioned that you were looking at some data. Where did you find that data?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, RPR system.
Okay. RPR in Florida is a great resource. A great resource.
Here too. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, we don't have it in Puerto Rico. I wish they did.
Oh,
But yes, RPR is amazing, an amazing resource for getting data. There's so much there. So if you guys are not doing at least a little training on RPR and how you can use that to benefit your business, you're missing out, because RPR gives you a lot of stats. It gives you a lot of help. It shares with you things that you didn't know that you can use now to market yourself as that expert agent.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because like Carmen says, we have to start educating ourselves to differentiate ourselves from everyone else. We all know people think that all realtors do is open doors. We all know that, right? So what are you doing different that makes you stand out from the ones that people think are just opening doors, right?
Mhm.
You have to create value in your business, and that's why all these things are important. Is, you know, adjusting your strategies. Where are you getting your data? Get market updates, see what's going on, right? Because now it'll go into question number 3. How do you prepare your buyers or sellers to succeed when the market conditions are no longer in their favor? Right? If you don't start the first 2, you won't be able to prepare your buyers and sellers on phase 3 there. So
Mhm.
that's why this is really important. Go ahead, Carmen, sorry.
No,
I
it's
get
fine.
I get excited.
Yeah. So, if you would like to discuss any other data source, I mean, you can also rely on MLS, because in the MLS you can get a lot of data, and even NAR. You know, NAR is always, you know, going after. Sorry that I'm getting calls. NAR also has a lot of, you know, data that you can use, and in it, of course, that's nationwide, and you have to adjust that to your area, but at least it's talking points. It will give you talking points that you can use with your sellers and buyers, and you can convert those to potential questions that you can use to start, you know, prospecting and making those calls. It's not always about, hey, do you want to sell or buy? You know, don't be that you know, scripted in a way that people don't connect. You know, sometimes you have to use that information that you see on our in these platforms to create some, you know, content and questions that you can ask your potential clients. So how to prepare them for the shift. Jay Malis.
Yeah, no, and another thing that is good to be skilled at when you're speaking to clients is that, you know, we're basically, you know, entering the fall season, right? Which a lot of people think, oh, we're done. You know, we didn't listen in spring, we didn't listen in summer, we're stuck. We're not going to be able to do anything. We have to wait until the next season. And it's up to us, right, to go into historical data with an MLS and basically analyze that specific season, because there's always opportunities, right? And you get to find what that looked like for a seller. And when you're having conversations with those possible sellers, you might shift their brains, because when they see math, they're like, oh, wait a minute, you know,
It's
if
not what I thought.
actually obtain this specific number that you're showing me based on the historical, I can sell right now. Like, I can put my house on the market and I don't have to wait until spring, right?
Yeah.
Depends on whatever the sale wants to accomplish. So it's very important that you do not just think that the best markets are spring and summer. You be intentional and analyze where we are, you know, what season and what opportunities we get to create. But the only way we can create opportunity, honest, is just show me the money, right? Show some math to those sellers. And MLS is fabulous about that, right? And again, if you have never done it, if you think you want to go a little more into how I go and find that data, let us know. We're here for you for that, right? We can put maybe a class to show you. So yeah, that's another.
Yeah, absolutely. Educate them with market data so they understand, you know, how speed pricing or flexibility matters. You know, they have to understand how the market is, you know, in their area, and showing those data, like Jaimali said, it can convince them to act now rather than later. And that's precisely what you want. I mean, people that are looking to buy or to sell before the year ends are serious, you know, that they are, it takes a lot of courage to do that in the middle of the fall or the winter, rather than waiting until the summer when there is more activity. It's because they have the motivation, or either they have to do it because of other reasons. Find that out, you know, and help them make a decision. So that's amazing. Anyone would like to share anything else before we jump to the next question? You are quiet today.
I know, they're so quiet.
We don't want to share everything, you know. We would like to hear you. We would like to hear you. And thank you, Carol and Sim, sharing, that. But if you are here and would like to jump in and share something of what is working for you, please do it. Okay. So, okay. So, what skills or tools are you focusing on right now to stay competitive if the market improves?
Correct.
What are the skills or tools you are focusing on right now to stay competitive if the market improves?
And while they think about that,
Mm-hmm.
one of the things that we all have to remember, going back to, the strategies and that we should be, remember that our goal is to have a full pipeline, right? That's our goal. That's what we work for, to have a pipeline that's full, right? In case one deal falls apart, we have another 5 still in the pipeline. Okay. So I see a lot of agents who unfortunately get a listing and then they just focus on that one listing, focus on that one listing, focus, on the sale of that one property, and are not prospecting in between, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're not looking for more listings. They're not looking for more, and they're just so focused on, oh my God, I got to sell this one. I got to sell this one. I got to sell this one, that they forget about building their pipeline. And we all know that listings, right? Obviously, yes, we're going to get buyers regardless, because if you have a listing, you have the opportunity to find buyers as well. But listing almost guarantees you a paycheck, where a buyer may not guarantee you that paycheck. So that's why it's so important to have a balance in your pipeline of both listings and buyers, because again, the market, we all know the market, like we're talking about, shifts. So as this market shifts, you need to have a little pipeline of both. If it goes into a buyer's market, you have buyers. If it goes into a seller's market, you have sellers, right? And you're not struggling through that shift. Okay. So keep that in mind.
And if you don't focus on getting new skills and tools, unfortunately, and you wait until to see what happens, you're gonna face the cost of waiting, because unfortunately, it's like what we say to our clients, don't wait, because it's gonna cost you later, maybe more than what you think. But it's also that applies to us as agents. If you don't prospect daily, if you don't do and you get organized and get those time management skills that we always are talking about, unfortunately, you are going to wait and see what happens, and you're going to see it later. 60 days from now, you're going to see that you don't have any closing. You're going to see that you don't have any under contract. And unfortunately, you are not building that pipeline like you were saying, and making sure that you are in constant movement, that you are moving towards getting your closings and achieving your goals, like the ones you thought about at the beginning of the year. So if you're not in constant prospecting, unfortunately, you're missing out. And if you need some skills, if you have never worked with sellers, this is the time. Start determining what exactly do you need in order to get more sellers. What are the scripts? Where are those areas that are moving, and maybe there are a couple of listings that I can take advantage in market and farming in those areas that are already having listings, in order to get more listings. And there are different trainings that you can get. Ask your peers, ask your broker, go in my agent account, and you can always find in trainings to get sharpen those skills and or get new skills. Anyone else would like to share anything? They are quite, I think that they are preparing, dinner or something like that. What do you think?
Yes, I'm sure they're multitasking. Except for Mr. Shaw. He sits there really patiently looking at what we're saying. So thank you so much, Mr.
Yeah. So, okay, last question. But these are questions just making sure that we, have an X-ray of our business, right? What are the things that we are doing now with the market, shifting the way it is shifting, and how do I get ready for that? So the last question that I want to share is, can you share an example of how you navigated a tough market before and still achieved results? I don't know how many of you have been, longer in the business, or have experienced, some market changes lately. Even lately, the market now is not the same as last year.
Oh, no.
We
And when
went
you look
through,
at 2020,
yeah,
2020, 2021, 20, that market was like a crazy market. We haven't seen anything like that, and who knows.
yeah.
But when you think about the 2008, when we had the crash, for those of you, the agents that were in the business back then, the only ones that are still in the business are the ones that learned how to pivot, right?
Mhm.
They sought out those skills that they needed in order for them to survive that market, right? So that's why skills are so important to develop, because the skills is what's going to get you through any market. If you're, a lot of the agents back then, if they got into short sales, they survived the market. If they
Mhm.
learned how to do foreclosures, they survived the market. If they learned how to do something other that was related to real estate, they were able to survive the market. So you need to be able to learn how to pivot and get the skills that you need in case something of that nature happens again, or again, what's happening now, where there's a couple shifts happening, in the market, where again, before you used to list the property and back in 2021, and then used to sell in 2 days or 24 hours. Now it's taking 60 days, 120 days, sometimes 180 days, depending on where the market is. So it's creating those things that while you're waiting, while you're still prospecting and building your pipeline, you're developing skills to help you continue to grow. And that's where that time management, I think, that comes in too, because if we don't have our time together, if we don't have our prospecting time, if we don't have the time to do the things that we need to do, our follow-ups, our prospecting, our farming, our market research, if we don't set time away, I think that one of the biggest mistakes that as agents we make is that, we come from a 9 to 5 where someone is telling us what to do, and you have to do this between this hour and this hour, and this between this hour and this hour, and you have to get all these things done before you clock out at 5. And when you leave that area, all of a sudden now you forget what that was. You forgot that there's still structure in order to run your business. And we just think, oh, okay, well, let me do the dishes, let me do the laundry, I gotta go to the grocery store, and forget that you're still a business, but you're still a business that's running for you, right? You're not running somebody else's business, you're running your own business. So you should be even more diligent on how you're structuring your day, and pretend that you're going to work. Pretend that you have a 9 to 5, and structure your day like you would your regular 9 to 5 job, because that's the only way that you guys are going to be able to get the things done in your time frame and your work hours. Because if you don't set that time, it's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. And so I know that these are a lot of questions, but I wanted to also share, because, when Carmen sent me these questions, I'm like, okay, well, what are some things, right? I mean, obviously we need to think of some things. Okay, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do to develop these skills, right? And so again, we talked about doubling down on education, right? And having market knowledge, sorry. Be the expert in the room, learn the local markets, right? We discussed that. Attend webinars, take certification courses, those are all things that you can be doing when you don't have any business. Okay. Niche down. That's another thing you can do. Become the expert in something. Niche down on what it is that you're trying to accomplish. So if you know that, there's veterans. Veterans is a great niche, because veterans are always moving. They're always changing from one market to another market. They usually stay 3 or 4 years in one location, then they change to a different location in 3 or 4 years. So they're always buying and selling.
And there's the
Always.
cheapest interest rate loan program right now, just so you guys know.
There you go. See, so again, you know, veterans is a great niche to go after, right? First-time home buyers, downsizers, investors, luxury homes, probate, and divorce. We all know divorce is a popular thing these days. And probate, right? The people that are passing on, and unfortunately they didn't get their ducks in a row, and now they're, you know, talk to attorneys, develop those relationships. Those are all things that you can be doing to increase your sales and increase your knowledge and be able to move, right? So in uncertain markets, specialists thrive where generalists survive. Okay? So if you're trying to do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of this, oh, I'll take whatever comes my way. Right? You're going to have a hard time surviving. When you specialize in a certain niche, there's always going to be sales in that niche. If you just hone down on that niche, okay? Veterans, people are always downsizing. Always. People are always moving.
Yeah.
Right? They have a job change. Investors are always investing. Right? Luxury homes, they're a little harder to sell, but if you become, you know, a luxury expert, you know, there's always sales in luxury. So again, niche down on your market, and I'll let you take over the next one.
Build or rebuild your pipeline now. Use slower periods to re-engage cold leads with cold leads. Implement or optimize a CRM for consistent follow-up. Do you still depend on you know, notes here and there, you know, and then you won't remember exactly where did you put that information or that phone number, or what exactly did you talk with that person 2 weeks ago? You have to depend on a CRM. You know, that's what it's built for. Just making sure that you are able to remember what you left it up, you know, in the last conversation. So leverage lead magnets, free home valuations, market guides, etc. So it's important to go over, and I'm pretty sure that if you go over your contacts here, you may have a lot of people that you have been, it's been a while that you have not been in touch with them. So just work with what you have. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to pay for leads right now if you can't, but work with what you have. Start building that habit of, you know, contacting people, you know, and ask requests, you know, for referrals, or reestablish those connections of with people that maybe you closed last year or the year before and you forgot about them and you have never contacted them before. Start to, you know, reconnect with them, because you never know where the next buyer or the next lead is coming from, and you have to, you know, feed that pipeline and that database. And if you don't have a system, this is a good time to get one of them. Okay.
Yeah, and you know, the systems that we have, Lofty, is $15 a month, guys. We spend more than that on having a donut and a coffee.
Yeah.
Okay. So $15 a month to run to automate your business, Okay. Like when I got my Lofty, all I did is transfer all my contacts, all my Google contacts to Lofty. I don't care if there was an agent, I don't care if it was a vendor, I don't care if it was my mama. I put everybody in there, okay?
And the phone.
And I send them all a welcome email. Hey, I'm here, right? I'm here. And you know, if they're gonna opt out, they're gonna opt out regardless, and that's okay, right? But I want to let them know that I actually am now here in Puerto Rico, right? So again, just passing that information out and being in front of them is super important, super important. And the only way that you are able to do that, if you tell me you have, you know, 500, 600, 800, 2,000 people on your phone, right? Obviously, you're not going to sit there and call every single one of them one by one because it's going to take you forever. But you can put them in your CRM and do one big email blast or one big text blast, right? Letting them know, hey, I'm still here. And that takes care of it. And then you put them on a follow-up, right? On a follow-up campaign of some sort. How many people, and I know that they're teaching this in that class. Noemi, you're still here? Are you here?
Yes, I am.
Okay, Noemi, did you registered for that class, right? Was it today, the second part?
No.
I
Was it
did.
It was this morning, yes.
It was this morning.
No, I
It was this
wasn't.
morning.
No, I wasn't.
You didn't register for it?
No,
I thought you told me you registered for that 100 days and 100K in 100 days.
no. I didn't know yet.
Okay. So remember I mean, they're on already. Today was lesson
The
2.
second class, yeah.
The second plan, okay.
Yeah, so if you're gonna register, you register so you can get the first 2 recordings and then you can keep doing. But in that class, and Mali, since you were on it, and I believe Carmen, you were on it as well. What was, one of the things that they taught on the first class is
I'm sorry, Teresa. I never got the first one. I didn't make it to the 10 o'clock, but I haven't received any information regarding that since I signed up.
Okay, so send an email to Daniela.
I'm sorry. Hold on. I don't know if I have you on speaker. I can't hear you. Yes, hello?
Yes, you're gonna send it to Daniela, okay, or Laverne,
Okay.
okay?
All right.
Send
Thank you.
it to Laverne at larosarealtycorp.com and let them know.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
So, but one of the first things that they said in that first class was, get and start sending a CMA or a Zillow report or something to the people that already own a house.
Yeah.
Right. So again, there's so many ways that you guys can generate leads if you put the time into it, right? So I like this. Fortunes are built in the follow-up. Get organized now so you can capitalize later, right? This is how you build your pipeline so that you have constant business, right? You have to keep feeding the people that you already have and asking for referrals. That's another thing that agents don't do. You don't ask for referrals. When you close a deal, a good salesperson is always going to ask, can you share 2 or 3 names of people that I can speak to that might be wanting to move in the next 3 to 6 months? It's not that hard, guys. They love you. They're at the closing table. They love you. They're taking pictures with you. They're, all lovey-dovey. Perfect opportunity for you to get referrals. And we don't ask. We don't ask. All right. Yay, Malis, you want to take on this one?
Growth tips, refine pricing conversations. In shifting markets, correct pricing is everything. Educate sellers with data, set expectations around longer days on the market or strategic price reductions. Tip to share, price the home for when the market is going, not where it was 3 months ago. And number 5, prioritize the seller and buyer education. Create market updated videos or email newsletters. Break down headlines, interest rate changes, and explain what it means for buyers and sellers. And another tip to share, an educated client is a committed client. Control the narrative or someone else will. Basically, people, either side of the aisle that you're serving, whether you're serving a buyer, you're serving a seller, you get to manage and control the data, meaning you get to understand where you are, because you cannot, like Texas and California, they're basically a buyer's market. Everything is basically plateau. Nothing is really changing much all year round for this market. Very specific neighborhoods, yes, maybe you can say they're sellers neighborhoods, but basically everything is the same, to the point that, agents in California from my office, they put offers and they're getting 60 grand, 80 grand deductions, right, from the listing price. And in addition to that, closing costs. So if you are not being an aggressive agent and if you're not bold for your buyers, you're not doing a service, right? Because right now, my experience when I represent a buyer, when my agents are representing buyers, you get to just put the word out there, just write what you want. You will be surprised what the sellers are willing to do to move those properties, right? So be bold. My recommendation to everybody, if you're representing buyer, I don't care what the listing agent says. If you, of course, have those conversations and want to get a sense of what the seller's right and priorities are and the goals, but be bold in your offers, because if they don't have any offers, they present your offer and you have no idea what you can create for those buyers. So understand data, understand, comping for your buyers, and of course, understanding how are you going to be setting that seller and the expectation of that workflow for the listing, so the seller can understand that perhaps being 60, 90 days on the market, it's their new norm for a while. And we don't need to panic. We don't need to do price reductions. We don't need to do anything. We just need to sit it out, right? And wait for the right buyer. And that's what we get to do.
Yes, and I love that tip to share. Price the home for where the market is going, not where it was 3 months ago, right? So when we're doing comps, what do? We looked at the sales for the last 3 months. But are we looking at what is the market? If you look at the MLS, if the prices are dropping, right? The sales that happened 3 months ago are irrelevant, because now a lot of those prices are dropping. So look at what's active and look at what's pending, because if you see the price drops, that is like phenomenal tip, I think, because again, if you go based on the comps that were 3 months ago, and we know that the market is shifting, that prices are dropping in the MLS all the time, look and price the home where the market is going, not where it was 3 months ago. I thought that was a brilliant tip right there that I think that we really need to learn from. Okay. All right. So next we have get more strategic with marketing, right? So focus on quality over quantity. Professional photos, drone footage, video walkthroughs. Use targeted digital ads like social media, Google, YouTube. Emphasize listing visibility through SEO on listing descriptions and website content. And of course, your tip to share, your listings are your brand. Market them like you're selling $1 million product, because again, they are your brand. If you're building a brand of an exceptional agent, someone who is exceptional and different from the rest, why would you take pictures with your iPhone? Why would you post dark photos that nobody wants to even look at? Why would you, not do the proper marketing to stand out from other agents? If you're trying to accomplish, looking like $1 million agent, okay? Strengthen your sphere and referral network. Reconnect with your past clients, vendor partners, and sphere of influence. Ask for reviews, ask for referrals, and repeat business. Offer value with neighborhood updates or client appreciation events. And again, your next 5 deals are probably already in your phone. Start dialing. I mean, Mr. Shaw can testify to that, right? I told him, pick up your phone and start calling. And he's got 6 listings since he started calling. Okay, so it works. You probably have your next 5 deals right on your phone and you don't even know it. Okay, and especially when you're not calling, when you're not offering your services, when you're not asking for referrals, when you're not asking for reviews, which is important for your brand, right? So those are all tips of things that you can start doing so that you're prepared for any market shift. Okay, Carmen, you want to take these?
Yes, leverage video and personal branding. Build authority by posting weekly market insights, tours, and frequent asked questions on Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube. and use AI. If you need any information or on that, I mean, it can give you some scripts and some insight of what you can post. Let people see your personality and expertise. Be genuine, right, in doing that. Don't just sell, educate and connect. Tip to share: people don't just hire agents, they hire personalities. Show yours. That's
Yeah.
wonderful. Number 9, master buyer objections handling. Learn to speak confidently about rate buy downs, creative financing, and long-term return on investment. Shift conversations from rates are high to here's how we make this work for you. Tip to share: a confident agent creates confident buyers, especially when everyone else is scared. I have a lender that says that the good question to ask the buyers these days: do you want to select your rate? Do you want to pick your rate? And it's because there is always an opportunity to buy down the interest. And if you give them the chance, and they at least will ask you, and how I can make that happen? Can I select my rate? Yes, it depends on how much money we can ask for from the seller and use that money to buy down the interest. So there is always ways to make it work. So wonderful.
Yes, absolutely. There's always a way to make it work. All right. Number 10, collaborate and don't compete. And I love this one because, you have to create your partnerships, right? With your lenders, attorneys, like I said, attorneys that might be divorce attorneys, right? Inspectors, stagers, right? Or, so that you can offer a bundle of services. Again, you stand out. Remember that when you become a source of or a source of resources, a source of resources, people will always call you, hey, Teresa, this is what I'm trying to do. Who do you recommend? That's when you become a resource to people, even if if you already close with them, follow up with the people you close on. I see agents who close on a deal and never follow up with that buyer or seller, ever. Like, I still keep in contact with all the people who I've sold the house for, right? Because I've taken down their birthdays, I've taken down information about them. I remember, I have in my CRM their anniversary. So now I can, send them a little happy anniversary. Follow up with the people. Keep all that in your CRM. If you close on a transaction, put that information in the CRM, a little task list saying, hey, this person's anniversary is next week. Make sure you send them a little anniversary card or something, or call them to wish them a happy anniversary. Oh, this person's baby just turned 1. Make sure you address that. It's those little details that make a huge difference in your pipeline and continuing to have those relationships that are going to build your pipeline, right? And asking for those referrals because people remember, like, one of the things said, they remember your personality, they remember who you are, right? And that's what they leave with. And so and you have to, take that and use it to your advantage. Okay. Co-market listings or events with other agents to expand the reach. Tip to share: in a tough market, collaboration isn't optional, it's leverage. Okay, so we're going to leave you with that. Okay, does anybody have any questions regarding anything we just spoke on? Or anything they want to add? All right, can anybody put in the chat
I just want
if they got something out of this presentation?
I got something out of the presentation. I do have like a quick question as far as like contacting our spares and on our
Here.
phone
Mhm.
spears. Do you suggest that we do phone calls? I think you said that last time we spoke, or should I send like a general, text? Or should I just make that phone call? Because some of these people I haven't heard from them in like months. Some of them probably a year, couple years. So just don't know how I should approach
If you
that.
have if you have time to make the phone call, guys, make the phone call. Make
Okay.
a phone call because, it's easier to hear from someone when it's a voice, when it's a voice versus a text message. And I think especially if you haven't spoken to them in months or years, it's always so nice to hear from someone that you haven't heard from a long time. So I think a phone call is a great start. If they don't, because then from then you can ask permission. Hey, is it okay if I send you some information? Is it okay if I follow up with you in a couple months to see how everything's going? So then at that point you can follow up with a text or you can follow up with an email or anything like that, because now you have them in an automation system where it will automatically do that for you, right? So
Okay.
I think that as real estate agents, remember that this is a relationship business. So
Yeah.
when you take that relationship by the horns, right? And you really make that phone call, I think it makes a huge difference. If you can get people's birthdays, right? I'm sure that, people, I mean, I put everybody's birthday in my calendar, okay? Because why do I do that? Not because I really, want to spend every day calling people wishing them a happy birthday, but because for business purposes, if it's a client of mine or a past client of mine or someone that, is a potential, I want to be able to even just call them. Sometimes I'll just call and say, sing them a happy birthday song over the phone. And they think, I mean, they just go crazy over that. Right? They're like, oh my God, Teresa, I can't believe you remember that. That is my birthday. Thank you so much for taking the time. Or sometimes I'll even just leave a voice birthday song, right? And they reply, thank you so much. Because those little details are the things that people remember about you. And those are the ones that are going to make a huge difference in your business, especially when it comes to follow-up. Okay? Anything else? Sharnika, I don't know if you still had a question. No? Okay. Anything else you want to add, Carmen and Yemalis?
No.
Nope, we're good. All right, so we're gonna leave food for thought. Markets change, but mindsets define results. In every shift, there are two types of agents: those who wait and those who adapt. One watches the market, the other wins it. Which one are you becoming? If you treat a slower market like a training ground instead of a downturn, you'll come out of it 10 steps ahead of those who just coasted. And growth isn't found in comfort. It's found in conversations, consistency, and courage. Keep showing up, keep sharpening your value, and the opportunities will follow. Okay? So I hope that was, if you can give me a thumbs up in the chat, if this at least helped you with some things to kind of prepare yourself for this possible shifting market. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I love it. I love the hearts. Thank you so much. But Guy, thank you so much for taking the time to join us. I think we did perfect timing. We started about 6:08. We're ending at 7:08. So congratulations to all our leaders here who kept it rolling on time. And again, if you're watching this after the fact, please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video with someone else who you think might benefit from it. And we'll see you next week, same time, same place. And thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Take care.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.